Muscle Science for Women. Welcome to Muscle Science for Women Rapid Fire Q&A. This is where things may or may not get spicy, but I think they will because we've got some spicy questions.
Yeah. So we're going to try to be rapid fire. And what does that entail? But we'll try.
Here's what 2-minute answers. Yeah, I think it means instead of like normally where we would cover like 1 or 2 topics for an entire episode, we're going to try to get answer 6 to 8 questions. So like a couple minutes per question, unless one like really, really requires a deeper dive, in which case we may just be like, this will be for another episode. But
so this question, training during pregnancy.
Yeah. Okay. So you know what I'm going to say? Rapid fire answer. I have done multiple podcast episodes about that. So we'll just put them in the show notes or something so you can go back and listen.
Your ebook.
And the ebook.
Yeah.
Yes. That's more like nutrition, but yes. But if you have specific questions, we can definitely address them in an upcoming episode. But I have literally done multiple pregnancy related episodes with a pelvic health therapist on my own, talking about my own training. So it's all there. So that's first question out of the way. Second question.
Sorry, I just dove right in.
No, that's great. I love it. That's what we got to do. Rapid fire. Second question. Thoughts on the new uber viral trend of everything being made out of cottage cheese?
Oh my God.
Right? You've seen it.
Yeah, 100%. Oh my God. These trends are just these viral things are so funny.
It's crazy.
I mean, it's legit. I would say cottage cheese, it's like cauliflower rice. You can just do whatever you want with
better,
it.
Honestly. I think cottage cheese is actually more versatile. I will say I like it, but I'm somebody who likes cottage cheese. I think people either think oh, it's good, it's healthy or whatever, or they think it's the most disgusting thing on the planet.
Yeah.
I like cottage cheese. I'll put a little cinnamon, some almonds on that thing and just eat
me
it.
too.
It's super high protein. It's good for you. If you can handle dairy, it's great. And if you have a good blender and you've got some good ice cream recipes, I say go for it. I think because, you and I, obviously, we're very big fans of make something that brings you joy, whether it's ice cream or a muffin or whatever. But if you're going to make it, put some nutrition in it, make it have high protein, make it have some good ingredients in it so that it's actually nourishing you as well as tasting good. So I'm all for the cottage cheese trend, honestly.
Yeah. And this is, okay, I just want to say something. I feel like we rapid fire, we each get a few minutes.
Of course.
So I don't remember who I saw do this, but blending up the cottage cheese, because sometimes people don't like the texture, but blending it up so it's a little bit thicker and doing a savory cottage cheese bowl where you add some chicken on top and a little bit of olive oil and sounds weird. Some greens maybe. So it's this kind of tart combination, a little balsamic vinegar, sounds really weird.
I'd give it a shot.
I'm planning to write up I took some pictures of it. I haven't posted it, but I wanted to write up a recipe for my website and stuff. So that's in the queue, but just a little cottage cheese flair.
Okay. That I'd have to think about it a little bit more because I haven't thought about it in terms of savory, but I think it's a very versatile, very healthy ingredient. And I actually think, because I think sometimes it's just don't shoot too close to the sun. Cauliflower rice does not taste like rice, forget it. And probably cottage cheese ice cream doesn't taste like something you'd get from Dairy Queen. I haven't tried the ice cream. That's probably fine. It probably is, and there is a difference between eating something that has zero nutritional value and something that does, which is why we're so obsessed with these Ninja Creamy ice cream recipes because they're good, but they also are I feel like my body was just given something other than empty calories. So I'm all for it. Okay. Next question. You got one?
Yeah, I do. This question, back squat taxes my central nervous system so bad. Sorry. Start over. Back squat taxes my central nervous system so bad. Other options.
Yeah. So
clearly they didn't listen to our squat episode.
Hello. Did you not hear the one where we fought about squats? And also maybe sign up for Muscle Science for Women, guys. But yes, of course, there's always other options. And Rachel has a billion good ones. Go for it.
Oh my gosh. Anything. There's so many. Maybe
it depends on, what are you trying to do with your back squat specifically?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What's your goal with the back squat?
Yeah, exactly. What's your goal? If you're not getting out of the back squat what you want, maybe it's time to try something different. I know I've told you this, I haven't barbell back squat in probably 2 years now. Um, Machine squats, so hack squats, pendulum squats, leg press even is a form of a squat pattern. And then that's obviously if you're at a gym, but if you're at home or training from home, split squats, there's so many different variations of split squats, quad focused, glute focused, all other types of like dumbbell squats, like goblet squats or I don't know. There's just so many different variations of squats. You do not have to back squat. And like I've said many times, to build your legs. If I were you, if you had access to a gym, what I would choose, the first thing I would try is a hack squat. And then if you don't have access to machines or you don't want to use the machines, I would try a split squat, a variation of a split squat, whether it's quad or glute focused, because that is really going to truly tell you your it'll show you a lot about your strength, right? And it'll also give you a good insight into any deficiencies from sides, like unilateral deficiencies, which is a huge piece that a lot of people miss out on. That when you're just doing like a regular back squat, you could be compensating on one side and not even realize it. Then when you go to do like a single leg movement, you're like, holy crap. So yeah, split squats, machine squats, all the squats.
Great. I don't really have anything to add. I mean, if you just don't want to do anything that has the word squats in it, like do some heavy lunges or, maybe the
or take our Grow Your Glutes program as well.
Take the Grow Your Glutes program. There's a ton of exercises in there. And I don't think you need a single barbell if you don't want to use it. So, okay, moving on. What are your thoughts on Ozempic?
Oh my gosh.
Spicy.
I mean, I've honestly just been kind of like taking in all of the thoughts from everybody else the last month or two, as this has become more popular. I mean, and honestly, I haven't done much research myself, but just from gathering information, and doing a little bit of reading here and there, I think that first of all, just like anything else, if you don't change your lifestyle, adding a pill is not going to be the game changer forever, for life. It's just not. So yeah, maybe you see some quick results, but there's always going to be a trade-off for that, right? So that's my first thought there. Second thought is that, maybe in the very, very obese population, it can be beneficial. But again, even if they use it and they don't change anything else with their lifestyle, you're going to gain it back. And it's going to be like, you're just going to keep going through the cycle. So those are my high level thoughts.
I mean, it's the same as like gastric bypass or like lap band surgery. It's like, that's used as a last resort for very obese people who are trying to lose weight. And they have to like lose weight by other means before they can even undergo the surgery, but you can always gain it right back if you aren't fixing your lifestyle issues. And again, we're only hearing about it. We're not hearing about it from people who have tried everything and are struggling and are looking for a last resort medication. We're looking at it because there's this huge influx in rich, famous celebrities who are doing it to lose the last 10 pounds to like look extra good because they're celebrities. And there's a pill now. Like literally, we've been talking for years in the fitness industry about like, if there was a magic pill, like everyone would take it. It's like, I think it's a shot. Actually, I think it's like a physical shot into your body instead of a pill.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess that's like the biggest answer is like no matter how many magic quick fixes come out, they still aren't actually that. It's a short-term maybe solution that a lot of people are finding like really short-term significant results, which is making everybody all excited and a flutter and also judgmental and all of these things. But at the end of the day, we don't know what the long-term consequences of it are because we're just hearing about it now. We're hearing that maybe there are some side effects when you decide to go off or whatever, but I'm always wary of like any quick fix. And I mean, this is where we could go in a million tangents. We're talking about things like Botox or fillers or any of these things, which are your personal choice. And I'm not a fan of anybody telling anybody what they can or cannot do with their own bodies. So if that's your personal choice, you are entitled to it. And who gives a shit what other people think? My thing is anything that hormone replacement therapy, which we were talking about in another episode, we're going to talk about more. The things that worry me are the things where when you start, kind of can't stop, or if you stop, something bad's going to happen or whatever. These are the things we don't think about long-term consequences because we're so blinded by, but it's just so easy. You just take the shot and suddenly you're not hungry and the weight just falls off. And it's like your answers, your prayers are answered, you know? And it's like, it's never that easy. Right. So I don't know. I think similar to what you just said, it's probably intelligent to just like observe maybe and like think about it. And I mean, I don't know how many normal quote unquote people are doing it. Like I actually personally do know a person or two who is using it for benefit. They're not famous people. They're not rich or famous people. They're people who maybe have struggled to lose weight for a while and have been offered this choice and it seems to be working for them. Again, I don't know about the long-term repercussions. And it's not really my place to, you know?
Yeah.
But I think that at the end of the day, what we're selling, which is, you know, figure out a good diet that works for you and exercise that you enjoy and a lifestyle that brings you happiness and fulfillment, is probably still always going to be hopefully the first line of defense. And it should still be the foundation of everyone's weight loss or fitness program because your lifestyle still matters the most, no matter what drug or pill or shot or whatever is coming out. It's always going to matter the most. So we'll see if anybody wants to share, if anybody out there is listening and is taking Ozempic and is having either good or bad or anything in between results, we would love to hear about it. And you can write in anonymously. We won't share your name, whatever. We should actually figure that out because people still have to email us. We should maybe do like some like anonymous.
There's an anonymous thing. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. Anyway, if you want to share, please do. Okay. Yeah. Ozempic. What's next?
All right. Next question. Is it necessary to go our heaviest and to failure every workout for optimal muscle growth?
You new here? No, it is not. And it is not even recommended you do that because that is incredibly taxing and damaging on your nervous system and on your body. And that's where we want to talk about, instead of maxing out and going as hard as you can every workout, we want to talk about things like progressive overload and the intelligent progressive programming of increasing the stress on your body through your workouts gradually over time so that your body can adapt to increasing stress, whether it's weight or maybe you're running longer, or maybe the workouts are more intense in some other way. Progressive and infrequent max testing is what you want to be aiming for.
And just to also, she said like going your heaviest and going to failure every workout. So no, you shouldn't be going to failure on every single exercise, every single workout all the time. Should you be getting close to failure? Meaning like you're working hard, you're making poop faces towards the ends of your sets because you're working your muscles close to failure. Yes. If you want to be growing muscle, you have to work hard and you can't just be like lollygagging, like, and like being able to hold a conversation during your set. That's not good. That's really just gonna be a waste of time. So the answer is you have to find a middle ground. And you have to understand that, yes, you have to still work hard and get close to failure. We talk about the RIR scale, so reps in reserve. We talk about that in the Muscle Science for Women program, and, you know, aiming for certain RIR, which means leaving, you know, however many reps in the tank, so to speak, before you hit failure. Understanding how to train using that as a scale can be so beneficial. And that does require that you do go to failure at some point so that you can actually test what failure is. Because if you never test failure, how are you going to know what failure is for you? But that doesn't mean that you should be going to failure and maxing out all the time. It's finding that balance. It's being educated on it. And that's literally everything that we talk about in the Muscle Science for Women program. We'll plug, but.
Yeah. And I think the other thing too is like the more trained a person is, the more experienced and the more time you spend in the gym, the more you notice and understand that the difference between near failure and failure is actually quite significant. Like the difference between getting to like 2 or 3 reps in reserve and like, it's very hard, it's very difficult, this is really challenging, this is taxing the muscle, and maxing out are 2 very different feelings and phenomenons, right? And like, if you, and the more trained you are, like if you're an untrained person, you can really exhaust yourself, I think, a lot more quickly. And you also don't really know maybe what it feels like or what it means to go to like true maxing out. But maxing out is something you do not, if you know what it feels like, you do not want to do that every workout. You won't want to do it, and you probably won't be able to do it.
Yeah. And I'll just add one more thing there. There's a huge difference between maxing out on or going to failure on a barbell back squat than it is going to failure on a dumbbell lateral
bicep
raise
curl
or a bicep curl. Completely different. And like there is absolute nuance there. Like for the barbell back squat, you probably don't want to be going to failure very often, or maybe if at all. Like maybe, if you're testing your max, whatever. But like on a bicep curl or a lateral raise, you can absolutely get very, very close or even to failure every week if you wanted to. And it would be less of an issue because it's such a smaller muscle group than a lower body movement like a back squat or a hip thrust or something like that. So you also have to know the nuances behind it. And again, that's where being educated in these things is important.
Yep. That's why you should definitely take muscle science for women course, because we really get into that. Okay, next question. What are your thoughts about core specific workouts or exercises? So that, I mean, anything from like maybe Pilates, core specific Pilates, to like ab day where you're just doing like core work. What are your thoughts about that?
I think that just like anything else, they can be beneficial. It depends what your goal is. It depends how you're implementing it, right? I think, if you're following a well-rounded strength program, they're having some core work in there, like straight, like crunches or reverse crunches, like maybe a few sprinkled in at the like end of your workout. That's totally fine. If you're dedicating like full on days to like core exercises and doing like tons of different types of crunches and all that stuff, I think that might be a little bit of a waste of time. But it also depends on your goal. So if you're, trying to, like, for example, more about this, but if you're postpartum and you're trying to like build up your core strength, maybe you do have a dedicated day that is all about that, but you're doing specific movements that are like for your pelvic floor, for your core, all of that. So that's a different situation, right? I think things like Pilates and yoga can be a great addition to a strength program, or something that you use as like another, like, maybe you're doing like a strength program, or a strength hypertrophy program like Muscle Science Forum, and maybe you do that like 3 times a week, and then you do like Pilates once a week or a yoga class once a week. But it shouldn't replace lifting heavy weights is really what I would say. As a rapid fire answer, it can be okay, but it shouldn't replace lifting heavy shit.
Yep. Agree.
Cool.
I have nothing to add. No notes.
Awesome. Okay, next question. We're getting through these. I think I only have 2 left here. On keto, should I be basing my carb percentage on net carbs or total carbs?
Sorry, I fell asleep because I'm so bored. Sorry. No disrespect.
I can't.
I mean, total carbs, right?
Oh my God.
The answer is total carbs, right?
The answer is total carbs.
Yeah, the answer is total carbs. Like, I mean, so much of the stuff too, like even if we're not talking about keto, but like macro counting and tracking, like I think and this isn't like a judgment call on anybody, but we're always trying to find like loopholes, right? Like if we just do net carbs, we can actually get away with like eating a ton more. Or if like, does this count as a complete protein or not? Or like this 0-calorie sweetener, can I just like pour that all over everything or whatever? It's like, let's just try to focus again on like the whole food. And especially if you're trying to like lose fat, like try not to cut corners, count every single carb, and we know that like nutrition labels are notoriously inaccurate. Like we just have to kind of hope that these things are generally accurate and then be consistent with whatever we're reporting. Like total carbs.
Yeah. If you're going to be count total carbs, makes your life easier. No gray area. The only thing I would say there is that like, yes, you should still be paying attention to your fiber a little bit, depending on, if that's something that you're focused on. And that would be like the vegetables and fruits and things like that. So taking a look at your fiber, but not necessarily saying like, oh, I'm just going to subtract all this. We want to look at the whole picture. So yeah.
Yeah. I think that's all on my end. So if you have another one.
I have one more. Thoughts on eating the same repetitive meals as a means to be consistent and hit macros?
Do you know Rachel?
Okay.
Oh, that's a lie. Actually, listen, I had one more question and I didn't write it down. It was like, does Rachel have any more squash recipes? And I think it was a joke, but I'm like, gosh, guaranteed she does. So just ask her, just send her a message and see if she has any squash recipes. Okay. Sorry. All jokes aside, I'm getting a little sarcastic as we near the end of this call, and I apologize.
It's only been 20 minutes.
I know, but I'm a sarcastic person anyway. It is absolutely helpful. It's absolutely helpful. Not only is it helpful just because, I mean, from a like tracking perspective and from a decision-making perspective and a meal prepping perspective, if you're going through a period where you are like, or if you're in high stress, or if you're busy and you're trying to like make sure you're eating healthy and make sure you're eating, you're trying to keep your carbs or your macros and your calories in check, is absolutely a excellent potential tactic for management, for weight loss, for successfully reaching your goals. Some people have a really hard time with it, is the problem. But I mean, even then you can eat the same things but still have 5 or 10 of the same meals. Like it doesn't have to be literally the exact same thing for every meal for months.
And I would say,
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, as I've gone through a lot of the, like diving deep, as I mentioned in the last episode, gut health and gut protocols and all that this past year, I've changed my mind on this a little bit and changed my own practices on this a little bit. And it's not like hugely, but it's more so like, okay, like for me, and let's even just think back to last year, when I was prepping for my video shoot, like I was week in and week out eating the same exact breakfast, same exact lunch, and down to like the veggies. Like I would have zucchini for like every single lunch for like a month, right? And so with that, I would say that there's nothing wrong with that, especially at short periods of time. But if we want to be a little bit more optimal and think a little bit more about some of the internal stuff that's happening, our gut does like variety, because you'll be getting different nutrients from different things. All the good bacteria in your gut is important, beneficial bacteria, and fueling that, especially like from prebiotics that come from different sources of fiber, it can be beneficial to get a variety, right? So have a different variety. But that doesn't mean that you necessarily need to have like switch up your meals every single day and all of that. How I look at that is, I think now, and I've been getting a lot better at this myself the last few months, and even just like teaching clients on this, is instead of switching it up every single day, especially if you're in a fat loss phase and you're trying to just be consistent and you don't want to think about it, it's like, okay, can I just switch up one thing per week? Or like a few things per week in terms of my fruits and my veggies. So like if I'm going to have strawberries for breakfast every morning this week, next week I'll have blackberries. The week after I'll have blueberries, right? If I'm going to have zucchini for lunch every day this week, next week I'll have asparagus. The week after I'll have broccoli, right? It's just like simple changes. And that variety is week to week. It doesn't have to be necessarily every single day. Right. Yes, getting different varieties of those things day to day can be beneficial. But even looking at your protein sources, like instead of eating chicken breast every single day, maybe it's like chicken breast one week, chicken thighs another, steak another week, right? And it's just kind of thinking from a practical standpoint, like, okay, if I'm switching up the types of foods, right, in a way that's sustainable and can still be consistent, I'm going to get a different variety of nutrients from those different foods. And then that is also going to help with, like I said, gut health and making sure that you're getting enough of those different types of prebiotics to help feed the good types of probiotics and the good bugs and all that stuff. And I think that's one thing that I actually did a detriment to myself, especially during my last video shoot when I got very, very lean, and I did come out of that with some gut issues. And I think that was one of the reasons, is I was just like it was literally squash every single day
Yeah.
and like a few other things. And I wasn't allowing I wasn't giving myself enough variety. And that's something that I would say was a mistake, really. So
Yep.
Yeah.
I completely agree. I mean, I'm not someone who eats I mean, again, I have like, there's trends, right? There's like areas, like, yes, over the course of weeks and months, I eat a lot of eggs. I eat a lot of chicken. I eat a lot of, I don't know, maybe ground beef, whatever, like Greek yogurt, but I'm not eating the exact same thing for every meal. And I think what it goes back to is that, and this is something we find in our coaching practice, is that people have a really, really hard time with balance and moderation and sustainability. They have a really easy time with falling off the wagon and eating like they're going to die tomorrow and then feeling like crap about it. And they actually have a surprisingly easy time following a very strict, rigid diet that is incredibly restrictive because there are a couple rules and you follow them to a T, and there you go. But being able to pull back a little bit and say, I want to eat really healthy food. I want to eat in a way that makes me look good and feel good, but I want to leave a little wiggle room for the unexpected and for the celebrations and for not feeling like eating squash today. And it's really hard. It's really, really hard because we have all these like mental things that come in that say like, well, what are you if you aren't eating? If you eat bread now, what does that mean? What does that say about you? Or, I thought you were eating so healthy, but then you decide to have a piece of cake. Well, you might as well just give up. Like, it's our brain telling us that because we have some variety and sustainability and balance, that we must be not doing things right, when actually it's the other ends of the extreme, the like eating like you're going to die tomorrow or eating only zucchini for the rest of your life. Those are actually the unsustainable, extreme, unrealistic things. But we glorify them, right? We glorify them as like either very pleasurable or very, we're dedicated, So again, we're really bad at rapid fire, but I think that the short answer is for like temporarily, for like reestablishing some good habits and for fat loss and stuff, having basically the same general things. It's easier to put into your tracker. It's easier to meal prep, all of these things, but you don't want to be super rigid. You don't want to do it for a super long time. And you can still eat basically the same kinds of things without eating exactly the same kinds of things.
Yeah,
I think that makes sense.
Yeah. And then one more tip too, just to wrap up that, you can also make a challenge for yourself too, especially if you're someone who lives near a farmer's market or something. Like something that you can do is like go to the farmer's market, every week or every other week and pick out like one new vegetable that you haven't eaten in a while. I mean, I know we're not all fans of vegetables here, or one new fruit, right? Or a fruit, you're fan fruit. Or look for like what's in season too and go with that. So yeah.
Yep. I love it.
Well,
all right. This has been our
done.
super rapid fire, but kind of like we were pretty productive.
30 minutes.
I'm proud of us. Good job. We did get some questions answered. Before we go, quick shout out to our sponsors, Active Stacks. They make the best protein powder ever. Their chocolate is the most delicious. It tastes like a brownie. You don't need to know anything else. Just go to activestacks.com, use the code MSW10, and you will save some money. Do you have anything to add to that?
It's amazing.
Great. See, that's
rapid fire.
A rapid fire endorsement. And
the vanilla is good too. Vanilla is good too.
The vanilla is good. The vanilla is very good too. And it's made with like real ingredients. Like they use vanilla paste instead of like vanilla flavoring. So I mean, they go the extra mile for sure. Activestacks.com, code MSW10. And then also thank you to Bubs Naturals. They are also our sponsor, and their code is MSW20. And you can get your collagen, you can get your coffee. They have a ton of different ranges too. Like if you like medium, light, dark roast, pre-ground, you want to grind your own beans, they've got all of it. Really, really good quality. My husband is a big coffee nerd, and he legit really likes it and is always bugging me to get them to send me more. And I'm like, easy, dude. Like, hello, I'm not the breadwinner maybe in the family, but I'm the coffee winner. And he's very, needy. Anyway, so you can get your coffee, your collagen. They have a new creamer that's really good. They've got some new hydration stuff that you can try. They're coming out with new stuff all the time. And they have a 20% discount code. So MSW20 will save you. And if you support them, you're really supporting us because they are keeping the show running. So that's it. And if you have any questions, comments, feedback, anything you want to tell us, we read all of the emails that you send to musclescience4women@gmail.com.
Peace out.
Don't do stupid shit.
Don't be insane. Bye.